Hey, what's up, guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. In today's episode, we're going to talk about exploring non-event decks for the event Clash of Elements. As you know, I don't have the event deck, don't have the Master Collection card, don't have the Ultra Rare card, so what can I do? Well, so let's go ahead and take a look at the cards. I'm going to explain sort of the setup, the reason why I did the setup, and then we're also going to talk about sort of like how you can use it and, you know, how effective it is depending on the boss that you're going for. So we're going to talk about the first setup here. Now, this one uses Headstrong Sirens, the Chaotic Killer card. I forged this from the Proving Ground store last season so that I could use it, and I'm finding that it's also useful for me. And so I can use Lightness of the Sea and also Headstrong Sirens. That's going to boost Chaotic Killer cards. And then Wave Breakers also is a Chaotic Killer card, and because Headstrong Sirens boosts both all water Chaotic Killer heroes, whether it's Slayer or Commander, putting Wave Breakers in here also gives me the added damage boost and also health for this card. And so I'm really using these three cards as my damage dealer. Wave Breakers, what it does is it will create power gems, and whenever you turn delay a card, you also get additional power gems in there as well. And when you attack, you will also delay the boss's turn by 1. It has a 5-turn cooldown, but it helps a lot in your fights, especially in commander events, because it gives you an additional turn without getting hit. Then finally, I have Statch Harbor Heavy, which is a turn delay card that you can farm easily in the campaign, and you can farm it at level 1-5 really easily. It's a turn delay card that has a 1-turn cooldown, really useful in these water events. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this team, then we're going to go and try it against a boss. Then we're going to talk about the various different teams I have as well. I have a total of 4 teams I'm going to show. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show this against a diamond boss right now. And the idea here, when I first set up this deck, is to use turn delay so that I don't have to deal with counterattack and also with poison or actually a gem silence, as the ish. These are the debuffs I don't have any counters for. And you can see here, because of the turn delay, I'm able to go ahead and activate my battle skills without getting hit. Notice that I don't have enough, I don't actually have enough gems in the very beginning of the turn to, I don't generally have enough gems in the beginning to allow me to activate my battle skills on turn 0. And so having that initial turn delay really helps. And you can see here as I'm using the skill from Statch Harbor Brute, I can also turn delay by 2, and so I never get hit by the boss. And so this allows me to just focus on doing my quick gem matches, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do turn delay. And every time I activate the Statch Brute, I'm also getting additional power gems here, which is nice. And so that allows me to attack every single turn. And so this is against a diamond boss, which has a little over 160 trillion or so. And so this team on its own is definitely very capable of doing it. It's just a little bit slower because each time I'm doing damage, I'm not necessarily doing a whole lot. And so I'm going to try and speed up a little bit, see if I can do this in a single attack. With the amount of time that I have remaining here, it's unlikely I'm going to be able to do this all in a single shot. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the other deck I have here. Now with Fabled Sojourners, what I didn't mention here is Fabled Sojourners is also available in the Proving Ground store. I also chose to use my Proving Ground coins to forge it. And I'm going to talk about near the end of the video whether or not I think that it is a deck that is worth using. So you can just see just now what you saw was the effect from Fabled Sojourner there, where I doubled the number of power gems that was on the board originally when it activated a skill. And the next turn, it created all of these power gem 2s. And so it does help a lot in that it gives you, the very next turn, it gives you a lot of power gems that gets gem crushed so that you could use it. And if you have like a 1-turn card that allows you to generate more power gems as well, then that will also give you sort of multiple turns where you can deal damage. And so this particular team, we were able to deal over 150 trillion damage to the boss. So we were able to take out the boss in a single 3-key attack. And now I'm going to show you a different variation of it. So originally I showed it with Stat Brute here for the turn delay, but you can see like each attack I'm dealing is not quite as high. And so there is another version of this deck here where I just took out the turn delay card, and since I already have the ultimate form Wavebreaker, I have the ultra rare card Ocean Weaver Ika. And so you can also go with this particular version. So this one, Headstrong Sirens again, it gives damage boost and also health boost to all chaotic killers. And so I'm also gaining more health here. I just don't have, I only have 2 cards though that give me commander bonus, but with the Fabled Sojourners giving me the 900% damage boost, it is actually sufficient. So I'm going to go ahead and now show you how much more damage I can deal with this particular setup. Mostly it's just because of the number of power gems that I'm able to get from Ocean, from added ultra rare card here, Ocean Weaver Ika, and also the fact that I have another, chaotic water card that is dealing damage as well. So that's the reason why I'm able to do more. And so you can see here, I also now have the turn delay, so I don't have to worry about getting hit. Even though I couldn't power up my cards on turn 0, I can power on turn 1 and not worry about getting hit here. And so we're going to go ahead and do a jet match here. And we can see how much more damage we're able to do total. So you can see that we were able to deal quite a bit more damage here. And I can activate Ika every single turn, which is nice. And so we took out about, I would say, a quarter of the damage here. And you can see here, I got hit with counterattack, but it's not quite as devastating as you would think, because I'm actually just on a lower tier boss anyway, and so I could afford to take a few hits here. And the idea here is, whether or not I'll be able to deal enough damage to the boss before I actually dies. And so I'm also getting a little bit of a heal from Headstrong Sirens, and so all of this sort of extends my lifetime within the fight. And so with this particular setup, I'm also able to deal enough damage while surviving to take out the boss with this. And I think what will happen here is after the next big attack, I should be able to take it out. And so I just need to make sure that I am not wasting too much time as I'm talking here. Let's go ahead and make sure that we can take out the boss first. And so we will have one more opportunity here after this. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and activate Ika first. Now the next turn, I'm going to have my Headstrong Sirens be available as well, and also my Wavebreakers. And so I should be able to go ahead and activate everything at this point, including the skill from Fabled Sojourners. And now let's see how much damage we can deal at the end here. So we're going to pay attention to the amount of damage that Headstrong Sirens is going to be able to deal right in the middle there. And you can see that it deals about 22.7 trillion on its own. And so overall, we're definitely able to take out the diamond bosses with these cards. And it deals about, I would say, with the overkill, about 200 trillion in a 20-second fight, depending on how fast you go. And so if you think about that, 200 trillion isn't quite a lot. Right? Especially since it's the water card. Like if you wanted to try and deal damage to a Corellian boss, it's going to take you at level 300. It's going to take you almost 10 attacks. So it's not quite there, but it is definitely good enough for a. Diamond boss. And now what I'm going to show you is a different variation where it's not a water deck, and instead it's a fire deck. Now, if you remember something I mentioned a while ago, Fire Decks is going to be the most free-to-play friendly sort of event for you to save up for. And so if you save up every single season to buy decks in the Fire events, you'll eventually be able to build up an arsenal of good cards that you'll be able to use. And this is what I did. I have basically all of the ultra rare cards from Fire Commander events that give you damage boost. Okay, and so what I have here is Altian's New Guard, Exalted Champions, and I'm also using Culinary Kings, but Immolating Fae. All of these cards give me damage boost, and this one also allows me to counter Gem Silence, or it allows me to also counter attack. Okay, and so using this setup, I wanted to show you how much damage I'm able to do as well, and we can also compare this against our water deck in a diamond boss fight. And now let's see what difference we can see here. So this is a fire version. If you have most of these cards, you should be able to use this. And so what I like to do here is same thing. I don't have enough beast killer relics that give me enough gems in the beginning, so I just cobble up whatever I can, and then I just kind of use that to my for my situation. And so what you can see here is I activate Fae also during this turn 2, so that I can actually dispel counterattack, and then I use Culinary Kings last, okay, to do the upgrade. Now you can see here total amount of damage isn't quite as high, right? So only about 10 to 15 trillion or so. And so it definitely is something that is going to, a single attack isn't quite high initially, but this deck will build up. And so what will happen is as you build up, what you can do is wait for the right opportunity where your gems will line up nicely, and you should be able to get a nice amount of attack as well. I've seen with my setup here an attack that was over 40 or 50 trillion. And notice here, what I'm also not doing is I am not activating Fae right away, because what I'm doing is I'm waiting for when I need to dispel counterattack. So this deck doesn't have any heals, right? Because this deck doesn't have any heals, I have to save my health as much as I can. And so if I get hit by counterattack and I lose health just by attacking, then I am diminishing my my ability to survive hits. And so what I'm doing here is I'm using Immolating Fae really just for dispel rather than for the power gems. And let's see how much we can do here. So you can see every time I'm hitting, I am also chipping down the boss's health. And so it's not quick by any means, but it definitely is an option, right? It's definitely another option that is viable. I think it's viable. And you can see here the amount of damage is starting to creep up a little bit. It just really depends on how your power gems go. I also made a little bit of a mistake when I did a power gem swap. I didn't swap the 10s, I just kind of swapped the 8s, and that lowered the total damage. And so what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the next time that I'm able to match again, and then we will make sure that we are matching the correct sort of the power gem, so we can maximize our attack. And so let's see, I think I should be getting hit with counterattack this turn. Or if I don't, then that's okay. What I'll do is, again, I'm going to leave Fae out for now. And I'm going to activate the Culinary Kings. And then here we have the 2 10s, and I'm going to go ahead and activate here. We may not be able to take out the boss in this particular attack, but that's okay. The idea here is I wanted to sort of show that it is possible for us to do so. Right? It is possible to use a non-water team and still be able to take down a boss at a level that the water team I'm showing you is able to take down. The nice thing that I'm showing here is with United Taurus, which is the card that actually has the beast killer. So United Taurus is the one that has the beast killer. Everything else, they're not beast killers, and so I am getting a beast killer bonus here. The thing that I'm not getting is I do not have a affinity bonus. Okay, so I am losing 10 times the amount of damage compared to when I'm using a water deck. And so you can just sort of imagine this deck on its own against earth cards would have been really, really strong. And we know this also because it does have, a lot of, it has a lot of power gem has a lot of power gem spawning capabilities, and it also has all of this, it has all of this boost to all the fire commander cards. And so we almost took it down, right? We were short by just 11 trillion, and honestly, I think we could have done it. I really think that we could have. And so now what I'm going to show you is the last deck, and that is going to be this one right here. And so this one is actually one that outperforms all three of the decks I've shown you so far. Now this one utilizes Afterlife Alliance, which is the Beast Killer. Okay, and then Haunted Hunters, which boosts Noble Killer. And the reason why this card is going to be important here is because I'm also using Divine Sovereigns and Star Song Wolfpack. Remember when this event took place, I mentioned that this card will be useful in all light commander events. Well, it turns out it's also useful in a fire or in a water commander event, because I can use this light deck and still get some decent amount of success. And so Star Song's Wolfpack and also Full Moon Lunaris is going to give me Power Gem upgrades. It also has, it also gives me some additional nice abilities in that there's a lot of health. I'm gaining a lot of health here, and I also have a nice reduction in damage. You'll see what's going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually not use it here, but I'm going to go up against a Corellian boss now. And we're going to use this setup. And you can see here in terms of relics, again, just using whatever I could to break the beast shield. But since I'm just going up against a Corellian boss, I don't worry about breaking 7. And so I'm trying to maximize the number of light relics I use. So I'm going to go ahead and use this setup now. The way I've laid it out, you just need to go from left to right. And there are ways for you to optimize, but the way I like to play, I think, and I think a lot of people like to play, is to just simply make it that simple. And so really just go ahead and activate from left to right. That's all you really need to ever worry about. There are ways for you to try and take advantage of giving your Divine Sovereigns an additional attack, but like I said, if you just try to keep it simple, this will work better. So you can see here my Star Song Wolfpack is able to deal 17 trillion in that single attack, and then you can just continue. Notice here I don't even actually bother with counterattack, because you take a look at my health, I have over 5 million health, and I barely take any damage when I am getting hit, and I just keep matching my gems. Right, I do wait, right? So I don't necessarily activate my Star Song Wolfpack right away, because I do try to line it up so that I can activate everything all together. Now, having the having Haunted Hunters there, it's giving me additional damage boost to all Noble Killers. Okay, and so Star Song Wolfpack is also benefiting from the amount of damage. Now, when you take a look at the leaf that's above the Haunted Hunters, every number that you see will increase the total damage boost by 20%. And so the typical sort of timing is that every 3 turns, I'll be able to activate everything. And that means I'm getting a 60% damage boost for my Star Song Wolfpack. And what that does is, it gives me the amount of damage that you see. But if you want to, you can also try and increase this up to 6, so you can get 120% damage boost for all of your attacks, and that is going to definitely give you more damage for sure. And also when you can activate Afterlife Alliance, there is also additional damage to all fire commander cards. And so that's why you can see here we are able to deal 34.9 trillion with the Star Song Wolfpack card, which is more than what you saw with my water cards. Okay, and so again, this is going to be pretty slow. Like, I'm not going to be able to take out a Corellian boss on my own in a single attack, but it will at least get closer. I believe the last time I tried this, I was able to get closer to about 600 trillion in a single 3-key attack, which is 3 times more than I was able to get with the best water deck I could come up with, in this particular event. And so it just kind of goes to show that you don't necessarily always have to go with the affinity deck, especially if you have a pretty strong deck that you've sort of built up in a different affinity. In this particular case, the combination of Divine Sovereigns and also Haunted Hunters, as well as Star Song Wolfpack, makes it a really appealing combination to use. right? Especially in light commander events. This is why I highly recommend any sort of cards that give you damage boost. You should try and get them because it's going to give you that much more of an advantage in in your events. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the difference now between having it at having my alchemized stack for Haunted Hunters at 3 versus 6. So let's see what we can do if we maximize the amount of damage I can deal here. And so I'm not going to activate everything just yet until my number of alchemized hits 6. We're going to activate everything together, and let's take a look and see if it makes that much more of a difference in terms of damage. So personally for me, I also kind of feel like in terms of efficiency, I just like to activate whenever I can, and so I can get the chip damage in. Because right now, I'm not really doing a whole lot of damage while I'm waiting for this to happen. But now that I've gotten everything sort of maximized, let's go ahead and see how much damage we can do, and we're going to focus on the amount of damage that Star Song Wolfpack is going to be able to do. And of course, we need to make sure that we are also, matching the best power gen possible, so that we can maximize the amount of damage as well. So let's take a look and see the damage that Star Song Wolfpack will do. That's the fourth card. That is the fourth card from the left here, or second card from the right. And we can see 41.7. So it's not necessarily always going to be better. Okay, like just because we waited until like it's the maximum damage output, it didn't seem that much better than when I just waited until it was 3 stacks, because a lot of other factors also come into play here. The number one being just your power gen placement and how well it dispersed, and whether or not you have sort of like whether it's too connected, or if you got a nice separation of your power gems. Like a lot of different factors come into play here. Not really something that it's within control per se, but it's just that I don't know that it definitely makes that much of a difference, and that is the reason why I just choose to go with just activate whenever I can every 3 turns. Really, really simple, makes it makes it easier to deal with. And now let's take a look and see how much we can do here. We have another, a second and 1.14 seconds. I could technically do a little bit more, but we're going to hold it off for now. And let's take a look and see what the final damage is after this. Because basically, I could probably get 2 more attacks in, to be honest with you. But what we're going to do is we're going to stop it for now. Then we're going to go back and take a look at the total amount of damage and see how much we were able to do. We could definitely do better. Like I could definitely do a lot better in terms of damage here. But if we go here and take a look at the damage output, so it's a single 3 key attack. So with that, I was able to do 313, and so already you can see that was outperforming the fire deck and also outperforming the water deck. And if you played faster, you could definitely get higher. Like I said, I was able to get closer to about 600 trillion, so about double the amount of damage I was able to do here. And so these are the 4 decks that I came up with, and surprisingly, the light one is the one I am using this event. Started with the water. This is the iteration I went through. Started with this, then I moved on to this variation. Then I moved to the fire variation, which did a little bit better, but then I realized that my light deck could do even better. Now, are there other variations? For sure. Take a look at the dark deck using Scallywag and also using, the behemoths, and also with, sort of any of the dark commanders that will give you boost and all of that. That is another possibility you can use. You can also use the Earth cards with, Visions of the Void, for example. There's a lot of different options you can go with, but these are what I have, and this is what I'm going with. So hopefully this is helpful for you. Take a look at this, and hopefully this gives you some creative freedom to come up with a new deck. Also, let me know what you are using that's not an event deck. Looking forward to hearing from you. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.